Okay, go for it, Chris.
Okay, I noticed something.
That the fact that there's the Templars, the Assassins, and those who came before, and we're thinking of a faction.
Well, did you notice the pieces of Eden were created to control humans by those humans?
Mm-hmm.
What if the whole... Okay, you remember what happened with slavery in America, right?
Mm-hmm.
It splintered off into two factions, those who supported it and those who were against it. What if the same thing happened to those who came before?
Those who are using these pieces of Eden and those who are against them?
Yes.
It is completely possible.
My question is, how the hell does Desmond have a lineage to both them and the enemy faction?
If it's anything like some things, it happens. Two people fall in love, decide to have a kid, that person comes out.
Hold up.
Romeo and Juliet all over again.
Hold up. What was the date that this happened? The game date?
I have no idea. I think it's in the future a little bit, though.
I'm just saying, what was the exact date? Because there has to be a significant reason why it says the 72nd day.
Wait, hang on. I just found something that's making me look odd.
Oh, what was the date that Desmond stabbed Lucy? Excuse me.
Whoa. Oh, wait a minute. Now that makes way more sense.
Be my guest.
Thank you, Sergeant 16. I want to hug you.
Okay, Death Giant, far away.
Okay. I found out how Eagle Vision comes around now. The Assassins are descendants from those who came before.
Okay, that explains why those who said before said that. Fuck his name.
Yeah, Subject 16 theorized that the Assassins were... their abilities were genetic, and that those genetic abilities come from those who came before.
So that explains why the prophecy is saying Desmond was birthed from the loins of them and the loins of their enemy. So there
That
is.
makes more sense now.
So there is a third faction. We just don't know what the hell it's called.
Well, that whole genetic ability thing flies into how the Assassins are able to use the staff and the apple and all that.
Maybe. It would be
Because
interesting.
remember, the Vatican Vault was not made by humans and was only able to be opened by this using the staff and the apple.
You know, it'd be
Ezio was able to open it, but Rodrigo wasn't.
it would be a severe mindfuck. The Templars and the Assassins band together to beat this mysterious faction.
I don't think it's going to be that simple, because I think those who came before and that other faction wound up clashing and destroying each other.
I still want to know the date that was stamped in the game.
Oh, wait, they may have been predicting the future.
Yeah, well,
Altair mentions it.
it clearly does. I just, you know what? I'm going to find in game date in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. I would be much obliged if you could find it. Help me find it out too.
Wait, that's what they were supposed to be? That makes a lot more sense now for the Assassins.
Don't leave me.
Apparently, those who came before didn't have 5 senses. They had 6, with the 6th one being knowledge. And while they were on their path to extinction, they decided to
Can you please repeat that last line?
Because humanity was only able to see the blue shimmer and hear the words,
Mm-hmm.
but they did not fully possess the knowledge of their creators.
Hold on. What are significant dates in history or in philosophy? Not philosophy, and stories that mean something like, for example, the Ides of March. 72nd day. Let's see here. Divided by 30. That's a good 2.5 months. I swear I didn't get kicked again. Please tell me I didn't get kicked.
You did.
Any comments, DWD Dragon?
Not that I can tell you right now.
Because isn't there an in-game date timeline?
Looking.
So the assassins are theorized to be descendants of those who came before. In Eagle Vision, then how would you explain Templar Vision?
Same way, because it's not just the assassins who got that. It was any human who was supposedly any human that was a hybrid of the first civilization and humans. Because originally they tried to pass it on. They never said what later on became what. And there's always someone who gets kicked out of a group.
What if those who came before are Atlanteans?
Well, considering chances are they're responsible for Atlantis, because a lot of mythology, according to this, is supposed to be put from them. In fact, the whole idea that humans came from Ethiopia, according to Assassin's Creed, was due to the Templars planting skeletons.
Blech.
Hang on, I just found war catastrophe. Yep. Okay, that explains it. The humans or those who came before its enemy. We know that now.
Then doesn't that rule out a third faction?
Yeah, it does.
So, you birth from our loins, that's going to be them, and the loins of our enemies are the humans.
So that means they have to be hybrids. But that doesn't explain why they don't. Why Desmond and Lucy and all them didn't have had a transponder in their brains, because according to this, in order for the apple of Eden to work, it has to have a neurotranslator that's inside every human. Don't ask, apparently it's genetic.
Something that Desmond apparently has.
You know what's really bugging me though?
Altair has it, Ezio has it, and both of them are ancestors of Desmond.
The
Yeah,
path.
it's rare for them not to have it.
It is done. The way lies all before you. Only remains to be found. Awaken the six. Go alone. But how the fuck does that tie in with Lucy? DWD Dragon, there's how many temples again?
There's normally 6. But I don't know how the temples actually have it. How any of those tombs actually have anything to do with this.
Wait a
I
minute.
don't think they do anymore.
How many pieces of Eden are there?
Lots. We don't know. We only know 2 of them. Those being Apple and Staff.
What other 6 pieces of Eden?
No, there's more than that. We know that. Yeah, Josh, you're forgetting the sword and the shroud.
Yeah. Chaos control.
Said, no, not going near it. Because they understand the butterfly effect.
Well, you have to give Ubisoft credit for making one badass of a timeline.
Ubisoft is good at what they do, I'll give them that.
If I have a feeling when I stop recording, we're going to be getting even more good of a discussion. I really hope Lucy is not dead.
She might still be alive.
We don't know that. We can only speculate.
Just like how we're speculating that 16's still alive.
Well, we've got a lot of evidence that seems to support it, keep in mind, because remember what happened with that one achievement.
Find out that 16 is still alive. That's what the Morse code is telling you.
Wait, whoa. According to this, when the war ended, something happened.
Which war?
The war between humans and those who came before. In
Atlantis
fact,
sunk to the bottom of the ocean?
something happened. Apparently, it was a impending danger from the heavens. It may have been something from a geologically unstable, which caused a super eruption for some reason.
Maybe.
But that evidence was supported by Subject 16, and this sends me for a trip because he actually referenced 75KA. You know what 75KA was?
I have a feeling you're going to tell me anyway.
I have to. 75KA was a super volcano erupting, also known as the Toba catastrophe. It happened 69,000 to 77,000 years ago.
Oh, Assassin's Creed.
Hey, it's mindfuck. What do you expect?
Well,
I'm not gonna be able to figure it out without playing the first couple of games.
You know what I expect? Answers. Next game.
which comes out in a few days.
Yeah, that catastrophe caused both races to start to work together.
Well, that explains why why they started birthing hybrids. But what I don't understand is this line: the end and the beginning, who we hold the honor.
Whoa, hold up. It says here they think the catastrophe can happen again, and that's what the temples are for.
So maybe that's what it means by the 72nd day. Something's going to go
Yeah,
down.
might be referencing that.
Well, it makes sense. But what's the final journey?
Who knows? Probably what happens after they avert that catastrophe.
Probably. Or Ragnarok happens.
Why would they create devices to kill themselves when they were trying to avoid it?
Because with all civilizations, it breeds stupidity if you're not careful.
Yes, but guess what? Devastation leads to knowledge.
Look
It's a
what,
sad truth, but hindsight is always better than foresight.
oh, let's go with this has actually happened. The great city of Atlantis. They had great knowledge, but in the end, they were destroyed.
Yes. In fact, chances are, yeah, even those who came before eventually died out. That's true for all civilizations, so just look at Rome.
So what if those are? Then how do you explain those who came before voice when he picked up the apple?
Simple. They left clues behind to avert the disaster they knew could reoccur. Just in case, because they had noticed humanity back then was in the millions, trillions. And yet, after the war and after that catastrophe, both sides
here's the thing. It doesn't sound like a clue. It sounds like it's actually talking to Desmond.
It can be, because it's trying to stop that. Keep in mind, even Altair noticed that those who came before were able to chronologize things that could happen, would happen in the future. So chances are they're betting all this to stop this event from happening and saving the planet.
And the event is probably going to be caused by the Templars.
Well, that's what happens when you dig around with shit that you shouldn't have even touched. Because those who came before were smart. They know that curiosity killed the cat. And that scattered around the planet were their relics. It's not impossible to pull up one of those relics. Can you imagine the cost of what would happen if, say, Hitler got his hands on the apple of Eden?
And what that actually happens in Ubisoft.
Yeah, they actually make a reference to Napoleon, I know, having the apple.
But here's the thing. They're using history that can be tweaked. Because think about it. We know they're not going to do anything of World War II because we know what happened in World War II.
We don't know what could happen in the background, however.
Very true.
I remember World War I, however.
That,
One of the Duke was assassinated, which started the whole thing.
yes, and that Germany was blamed for it. So maybe that might pull into it.
They might use World War I, but not World War II.
Yeah, that makes more sense. A Templar assassinating the ambassador. Because if memory
It
serves,
could have been a Templar or a assassin. Just keep in mind, both sides could have used that coverage.
but it makes more sense of it being a Templar.
How so?
Because think about it, ambassadors usually aren't people who want to fuck with the world.
No. Ambassadors are usually those who want to bring peace. However, what if the ambassador was a Templar?
Oh, shit.
Just because someone wants to bring peace does not mean they don't have an ulterior motive.
And then, yeah, it can go either way.
Why do I have a feeling the people at Ubisoft are going to see this conversation and they're going to be like, these kids got a point. Because usually with stories like this, you don't do it ahead of time. Usually you plan along.
Sometimes they use the fans' theories to go with it, too.
Usually they might find a bunch of different theories and add them all together, so it's like, yeah, I was kind of expecting this.
Well, what is the exact year that we see Desmond? Because for all we know, there could have been one major shit event that happened between now and whatever timeline that is.
Yeah, we have no clue what's going to happen.
For all we know, they could make Obama a Templar.
I don't think they're going to touch present day.
I doubt it. Well, they have to. Well, not present day, but our future.
Yeah, they have to touch Desmond's present day, but they can't touch our present day. And to be honest, there's not really much to go on unless you're counting Iraq.
You know, it also makes sense that, you know, Germany, there has to be a role why Germany was so bad in World War One. We know they were bad in World War Two. Maybe they developed the U-boats in order to find a hidden piece of Eden.
They might have been looking for something under the water, because keep in mind, land does sink.
Because why was Germany the only ones who developed U-boats during that war?
There had to be a reason for that.
Maybe searching for the lost city or whatever. saying, "Oh, we just find the mindfuck of all pieces of Eden."
You know what piece of Eden I'm waiting for?
Hmm.
The one that actually explains all the shit going on.
Oh, that's not going to happen until we. That's not until we get. That's not until we upgrade to the console above the Xbox.
I don't think we're going to be up. I mean, Assassin's Creed is going to go on that long. And I don't think we're going to get a console above the Xbox anytime soon.
Well, it has been a long time though.
Yeah, because they're, between both Sony and Microsoft are aiming for the ultimate console where instead of upgrading hardware, you just have to upgrade
I
software.
just thought of another point in history they can tamper with. You know how in the history books that the fuck the Revolutionary War they tried to go up into Canada.
Yeah, they could go into there. They could go into the Revolution. They could also go into the Vietnam War. Oh, and they can go into the Korea War. There's a lot of places they can go, my friend.
Hmm. I don't think they could tamper with the Vietnam War. That's
That
just
just goes back to the whole background events happening.
true. But keep in mind, we don't want to go into modern warfare.
Yeah, I highly doubt they're going to touch anything close to home.
Because think about it, the story begins in Rome, right? In ancient Italy,
It started back in the days of Persia, if memory serves.
with Assassin's Creed One, right?
Yep. Then it went into Italy.
For all we know, they could mindfuck us and add another ancient civilization crap. They could mindfuck us with assassins being all over the place.
Well, chances are they're not going to abandon the thing that they're most well known for, which is rerunning system. So chances are they're going to avoid any more that would turn to any event that would turn it into something similar to Modern Warfare or Halo.
Think about it, for all we know, they could take the Assassin's Creed storyline to the Oriental countries, or hell, even South America.
We know there are pieces of Eden in those areas. Thank you, Altair, and your map. Holy shit. There were so many different places. And once again, you have to remember the sunset of it.
So think about it, we have only touched only a small piece of the entire history.
Yeah, humans have huge history. In fact, we could even hit upon Native American history because thing is, we are clueless when it comes to the original history of America, essentially. We only have bits and pieces.
In fact, what's the famous temple in the Oriental countries? You know how there's three pyramids in each location? In China,
Remember.
Egypt, and Mexico.
Yeah,
For all we know, there could be pieces of Eden in each one of those locations.
there's no way to tell. And to be honest, if that cataclysm did happen, there would be no way for the groups to actually communicate with each other. Not without traveling long distances, and I highly doubt they would have been able to get back between America and the Eurasia area.
But here's the thing, it has to follow a timeline. So essentially,
does.
we know Persia and Italy came first, so the next thing is probably going to be China or Mexico. Somewhere in those areas.
You mean Middle East?
Yeah, the Middle East.
Thank you, DW Dragon.
You're welcome.
In fact, how they came over. They could have gone with Cortez when they found that gold and whatnot. He probably had a secret. They were probably going to find El Dorado, which also had a piece of Eden.
Now, what I want to know is,
Fuck, they could also.
Think about it. That's another question. What's everyone going to be after now?
They're
They found the apple.
They could also fuck with the Fountain of Youth, El Dorado, and other great legends.
Yeah,
What next? We're gonna go to the Middle Ages.
Who knows? We have no idea entirely.
But yeah, that's my question now. Where is everyone after now? We have the apple, and all we know right now is that the main thing is going to have Ezio travel back and even relive some of the memories, some more of the memories of Altair to find something. What I want to know is what.
That's the question. Once we find that out, we're gonna find out so much more.
Is it going to be another piece of Eden? Is it going to be some kind
I
of
don't
dimension
think so.
or something? What?
DW Dragon. I don't think it's going to be another piece of Eden. I don't think there's going to be more than one piece in one location.
I don't. They're going back to the Middle East.
Yeah.
We're not in Italy anymore. We're not in Rome anymore.
That's still relatively close, though.
There's all pieces though. Do you remember that?
Hang on. Let me speak. DW Dragon, going back to what you said and what Justin said, keep in mind the apple of Eden that Desmond has in his hand is technically the same one Altair had.
So it's a very good bet there's not going to be a piece of Eden.
Unknown, because according to the map, areas, some of the pieces of Eden were actually fairly close to each other.
Well, what are other great legends besides the ones named?
Well, let's see. Some of the stuff that they actually used as reference was the sword of Eden, which Excalibur, Slumbog, all those famous swords. The pieces of Eden, which was able to essentially trick the mind and play illusions. It was also credited to the apple of Eden, which was for
Oh my
knowledge
God.
of Eden. Let's see if I can find that map.
Wasn't there some legend in Australia too?
There's legends all around the place, man. So we have no idea which are going to be true, which are going to be false.
What about the Nazca lines?
The Nazca lines, that may be another reference to them. So Ubisoft is able to do so much stuff because they left so much room, and they were smart and made it so they were background to things. They never made it so Altair started a war or something else.
They did it. They just made it. Yeah, we're going to go lazily through. It's like, what? I wonder what the modern day assassin's cloak looks like.
They probably don't have one. Think about it, it'd be way too easy to point out from the rest of the group. Nowadays, they probably, to enforce blending in with the crowd, just dress up in civilian clothes. Because take a look at what Lucy, Desmond, Rachel, and Sean were all wearing.
True.
That's actually a civilian thing. Except for freaking Desmond with that goddamn WTF moment. Why is your hidden blade not hidden?
True. There's just so much to the damn thing.
Yeah, there's really no way to tell what's gonna happen.
Sooner or later, they're going to have to bring the future into the game.
Yeah, I found the map, and according to this,
Do you mind linking it?
I'm about to. Yeah, and according to it, there are two pieces of Eden in the Middle East.
Oh, that's a mind fuck.
Let's see. There's one that looks to be around the UK area, one that's around the Spanish border.
Looks like there's one in Egypt.
Yeah, one's in Egypt, one's over in the Canary Islands. I can tell you that much.
I'm betting it's probably a pyramid.
Keep in mind, look at where some of the locations are. Those don't have pyramids.
I'm saying for Egypt. This would be so much. Be so much helpful if there wasn't a circle blocking part of the map.
Keep in mind, it's a 3D map.
Oh, that's a building. Oh, crud.
Yeah, and going back to what you're saying, it's too far. I'm going to say either south or west to be part of the pyramids.
I want to say too far north.
Yeah, it's just too far to the pyramids. And
Oh
again, you can't
shit!
even take a bunch of stuff.
If you look at Africa, it looks all trippy.
Yeah, remember what I said? 3D map.
You can't even. So far we know, those two dots above it could be on the Americas.
We have no idea because, to be honest, this picture does not accurately show the map. In order to see it, you'd have to find film from when Altair actually encountered the map and just replay that.
Well, I can try to draw out the outlining so we can actually see it a bit better. But if you notice, it looks like Africa has been chopped off.
No, Africa wasn't. It's just the curve that's getting you. But if you notice, there's actually
I,
four
I see it. I see it.
right together.
There's also one in Spain.
Yeah, one's in Spain, one's in the UK. I mean, two are in the UK area.
There's a few in the U.S. Because I highly
Yeah,
doubt it's in the middle of the ocean.
yeah, if you notice, one of them's off the coast of the African continent. I can tell you right now, that's the Canary Islands. Oh wait, here we go. Got a list of where they're all located.
Gee, that would have been helpful.
Hang on, I'm not sure how this is gonna work for me.
Oh, Ezio. You silly boy.
Yeah, there's a total of 48 pieces.
Dear God.
Let's see, Giza, Egypt.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute, we're Nara, Japan? The fuck? Well, there has to be significant artifacts in these locations. I was right. The Great Pyramids of Giza.
Mm-hmm. I think there is actually a bunch of references because Jerusalem. Need I say more?
Indeed.
Nazca, there's your pyramid theory again.
Uh. Oh, God. I have to make the. Wow.
Wait, weren't there a bunch of Indian ruins outside of Phoenix, Arizona?
Yeah, why?
Guess what? Phoenix, Arizona, somewhere outside the city.
Still not enough room?
Pacific Ocean, close to the coast of Mexico. South Pacific Ocean, near the coast of Easter Island and Chile.
Oh my God. Let's see here. Washington, D.C. There is some theories that there was something there, or some secrets. Modern day Shira, Iran.
India. Beijing.
Well, India doesn't have the big temple.
Isn't that somewhere in the Middle East?
Beijing. Yeah, that's China.
That's
No.
China, dude.
No, India.
That's China.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, India is south of China, keep in mind.
Because seeing if this list rolls out the possibility of them going for it, them locating a piece of being for in Middle East.
Hella Sodar, Iceland. Okay, I have a pretty good bet Ubisoft, it's probably going to say some of these are destroyed. Or if there's remnants of it.
Well, we have no idea how many different items they could have, but
Because I'm telling you right now, they're not going to get the one in Iceland, because it's probably covered under miles of ice.
you're thinking Greenland, keep in mind. Iceland's actually warmer than Greenland.
Doesn't Iceland also have a volcano?
Who knows? I don't remember. One of them, though, is near the Ocean.
You're talking about the one in Alaska, right?
There is one right here. The Antarctic Ocean, the side of the Antarctic Ocean that faces up towards the Indian Ocean. Yeah, keep in mind, these artifacts were placed before the Ice Age. Meaning there's this little thing called glacial thawing, which caused sea levels to rise.
I could take. Well, we could roll out which ones are they're not going to get. The ones that are that are frozen in ice, and the ones deep in the ocean.
Well, that explains some of Egyptian mythology. Apparently, one of the pieces of the Eden was known as the Ankh. Guess what it was capable of doing?
Hmm.
Let's just say with that, zombie apocalypse becomes a lot more real. So far, it's confirmed that there are 6 apples, the staff,
Oh my God. Salisbury playing.
shroud of the sword, the crystal skulls, and there's a time one.
There's also one at Stonehenge.
Yeah, they were smart. They put all these images in different areas where, yes, if you looked in, you would find stuff. In fact, if you looked up any character from Assassin's Creed, guess what? Historical event.
But how did someone get all of these names just from a little map? The pattern, some about Mideast of the Java Islands, Indonesia. The ones that are underwater is a good bet they're not going after them. Duh. There's 2 in the Ukraine.
Yeah, well, like I said, anywhere they could think of for any kind of relic or ruins, they probably
The Pacific Ocean close to the coast of Mexico. Well, there's probably some pyramids in that area. The Atlantic Ocean.
Wait, whoa. According to this, the staff and one of the apples are gone.
Heh.
Yeah, the first one of the apples was destroyed in the DIA satellite accident, and the other one during the Tunguska explosion.
Brilliant.
Denver International Airport satellite accident. Said to have happened in the early 21st century. Why do I have a feeling if I look up Denver International Airport,
A satellite accident, but that doesn't make any sense.
it's Assassin's Creed. You don't understand it because you're in it.
Madagascar, I'm not surprised at that. Loch Ness. Well, that lake is supposed to have a secret passage to the ocean.
Well, keep in mind the Loch Ness Monster. We don't know if that could be something that the
Maybe the Loch Ness,
came before it came up with.
maybe the Loch Ness monster is a guardian of the Piece of Eden.
Who knows? In fact, the Loch Ness Monster could be the Beast of Eden.
That's a severe mindfuck. Because that would make sense since Nessie, there's only one of it. So there's more than one apple.
Yes, there's 6 that we know of.
6 different tunes.
We don't know what they're going to do with those. It may just be something that they decide to do, so. The only thing we can do now is speculate.
Or for all we know, it could be a wild bantam chase.
That's what Assassin's Creed is leading us on. Until we get the next game, we can't figure out anything because they gave us way too big of a mind park.
And wait till we finish Revelations. We're going to have a whole bunch of new theories. Oh. You're awfully quiet, Dragon.
That explains that one. The Tunguska explosion was caused by Nikola Tesla when working with the assassins. We're trying to destroy the Staff of Eden as a strike against the Templars.
Doesn't it take a lot of force to destroy a piece of Eden?